It made being a husband it just had a weight to it. It just had a weight to it. I felt like I always had to perform. But let me make this clear. It wasn't necessarily you.
I was going to say, I didn't ask you to marry me.
Touche.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Self Show. I'm Dee.
And I'm Max.
Come on in. Listen.
Like open the door? Like
That's an invite.
It's an invite.
Yes.
To what? Like you make it sound like we're...
To the space, to the conversation, babe.
Okay.
Get with it, man.
Listen, I need you to tell me these things before. Okay?
Well, I throw you off.
You threw me off. Come on in. I'm like...
Who's coming in?
I'm over here looking at the door like...
Who's coming in?
We got a special guest. What's going on? What's going on?
Oh my goodness.
We're
I
stupid.
just can't with you. No, I'm not stupid. I rebuke.
Ooh.
I do not subscribe.
Ooh. You better...
Words are powerful, remember, even in jest.
Okay.
Be careful.
I'll believe with you.
Yes.
We're so smart.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Oh my gosh.
How are you, babe?
Listen, Medea, you know what?
We're starting with that.
Okay.
All right.
Your show. So I'm going to behave.
Yes, please. Best behavior.
Best behavior. But I'm fine. I'm doing well. How are you?
I am great.
That's amazing.
I feel good.
You look good. I like you got your hair all curly and shit.
Thank you.
Hey.
I mean, you look, put together too,
I mean, just keep the compliment. You don't have to.
That's all right. I'm sorry.
I'm looking regular today. Just receive. Just be in a place of receiving.
Yes,
you know
that's the word. Remember, I told you that's one of my theme right now. Mm-hmm. One of my theme is receiving. Learning how to receive.
Just receive, girl.
All right, give me the compliment again.
Girl, you look good.
Thank you, babe.
Your hair all curly and stuff, matching with the.
It's okay.
A dress? Oh, so you want to control what you receive and not?
No,
I'm trying to shower you with compliments that I mean from the heart.
I just didn't want you to mess up.
Listen, I'm fumbling on my words because God has not created the words for what I'm saying right now.
We're just gonna lay it on. We're just gonna lay it on.
There we go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you know what? I'm going to accept that compliment.
Please do.
Thank you, babe.
Amen.
And that's the word for for today.
Receive.
And accept.
Mm-hmm.
The same.
Accept.
Yeah.
Receive and accept. I think it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I remember saying that was the foundation, the first step.
Yeah.
Accepting what happened.
Accepting the situation, accepting the person.
Yeah, in the past, that you can't change anything.
Exactly. However, what is the expectation of myself? Right? So what does acceptance look like for me? That's the accountability part. And what does acceptance look like moving forward? In acceptance, that foundation begins with accountability. Granted, in some cases, I do believe that you have to create some boundaries. However, I wanted to operate in a way of love. So what does Max operating in love looks like? That was the standard that I had to hold myself accountable to. And then that's when I moved into forgiveness. But you told me that forgiveness was the release and the release of control and negative emotions. You probably don't remember everything that you said, but can you go into that again for me?
I was able to say that because I had to go through that for myself.
Yeah.
Where I had to offer forgiveness in order to move forward. It was a requirement. From self-reflection, that was something that came up. Like, it was a requirement. And that's partly why you're probably stuck as well, that there were emotions from whether it was attached to childhood, whether I'm holding on to things that happened in our relationship, things like that.
Yeah.
And realizing that those emotions are still sitting there. I had an idea of the life I wanted and the feel of the life I wanted as well. What came to me is, in order for me to get there, there was work that needed to be done. You mentioned acceptance. That was something that I had to do as well. Accepting how I was feeling, just where I was at the moment. And that came with being real.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we really think we're being truthful to ourselves, but we're not.
Yeah.
Sometimes we lie to ourselves the most. And I realized that I wasn't honest.
In what
with
way?
myself.
In what way?
Meaning, if there was something that offended me, I probably won't say for the sake of like
You don't
keeping
want to
the peace.
Yeah, in confrontation.
Right. So wanted to like keep the peace. Right. So I wasn't being truthful with my emotions or my expression.
Okay.
And then the longer you operate in that space, something starts to build on the inside. You're not living in a space of truth. So then it feels like you're robbing yourself of something.
And then I guess resentment.
And those emotions, those negative emotions can build up.
Yeah.
Right? You can have frustration, resentment, because I went through all of those. I had those emotions. Feeling unfulfilled or not satisfied even in myself. And when I started being honest with myself, like it's like confronting yourself.
Yeah.
You can't skip that part.
Looking at the woman in the mirror.
Yeah, you can't skip that part.
Yeah.
So while being still and reflecting and deciding that there's more, or I know I want to evolve, right? It came to me that it's not something on the outside. You have to go inwards. So when I started doing that, it brought some emotions to the surface that I realized that was blocking me.
Okay.
So first thing first, I had to be truthful and honest. Then I have to accept myself, all areas of myself, right? And not just the idea that you build of yourself or what you want to portray, like everything.
Okay.
So when I did that, it also made me, like I was able to just accept everyone else the way they are. And because I did that, then I had to move to forgiveness. That was the next step that came for me, forgiveness. I didn't think I had an issue with forgiveness. I'm like, no, I know how to forgive.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes you think because you don't talk about it again or something happened 2 years ago and, okay, we don't talk about it again, it means that I let it go. It's forgiven, all is well.
Yeah.
But that's not entirely true all the time. Because when you have certain thoughts, there's still certain emotion that comes up.
Yeah.
Or if something triggers you, this emotion comes up. So then you realize you have an issue with forgiveness.
Yeah.
You probably forgive some things, but there's other things that you're holding on to. Once I realized that, I knew, okay, that's my focus in this moment right now. It's forgiveness. And I'm like, what does that look like? What does forgiveness look like? So I had to really make a decision in my heart to release the person, release the situation. But that came with the understanding that everything that happened was still instrumental in some ways. So it made it easier. It made it easier to release when I started looking at things as something that could benefit me in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, once I did the forgiveness work, I had released all expectations, more so in our case, like release expectations of you. And I felt the focus needed to be on me, not so much you.
Okay.
So when I made that switch, what I noticed was that it seemed that me not having the expectations and just focusing on myself, it just gave room.
Okay.
It just gave space
Got it.
for you to just do you, however you want to do you. Other things started coming up, like other areas that I needed to work on. So next thing, we're going to work on control. Control? I didn't think I had no issues with control.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even things you didn't think it was, you don't think it's control, but it really is. So, as simple as if I have an expectation.
Okay.
So, let's say if I made a demand of you, right?
Okay.
Or ask of something of you.
Okay.
I'm expecting that you're going to have an expectation in my head, like how you should respond.
Okay.
Right. And I guess in that expectation, it didn't really give room for how, I guess, just you to be, right?
Yeah.
So it's when you don't meet that expectation, that can bring disappointment, but then really realizing just me having an expectation of how you're supposed to respond is control.
Yeah, kind of.
And
very much so. Very much so. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So, and then realizing some of the issues, it's like I created my own issues, right? But no one told me, though. No one told me. So the more things are revealed to me, hey, this is a form of control. And then realizing that you don't have control over as much as you think you do. So once I put that in perspective as well, is realizing what little I do control, and that I am more in control of myself than anyone else. That in itself too was also a release for me. And it felt good.
I'm sure.
It felt good.
I'm sure.
It was like, I'm not responsible for you.
Yeah.
I'm only responsible for myself.
Yeah.
So it's a learning to stay in my own lane. I started realizing when I'm, overstepping. Like I'm overstepping in your area. Got it. So, question. Did you feel any difference? Like, did you start to feel any, I guess any difference in the feel of our relationship or our dynamics?
No, yeah, because the thing is like, listen, and I think that feeds back into when I was younger, my intention wasn't to be married. So I think when men and women who have that intention, like, oh, I want to be a wife, I want to be a husband, they're already anticipating certain responsibilities and things like that. And me coming from a place where that wasn't my initial projection, it made being a husband just had a weight to it. It just had a weight to it. I felt like I always had to perform. But let me make this clear. It wasn't necessarily you. I was going to say, I didn't ask you to marry me. Touche. So yeah, you can the role of a husband it felt like a task. Now it doesn't feel like a task. It's rewarding, and I'm going to tell you why it's rewarding. It's rewarding because now that you don't put this pressure on me. And if I do something, or when I do something, and I do it well, or even as a surprise, it's more like, and maybe because you didn't have an expectation, so the bar is like low. It's like, oh my God. And me like a little puppy like, Like, yeah, like I did that. You know, like what else do you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like it's stupid, but that's how I feel. You know, that's how I literally feel. It's a joy to serve. You can call my cap right now. I don't have much of an expectation for you.
And that was the thing.
Like
you didn't have any.
Yeah, like I don't.
Like you really didn't put any demands. You didn't really.
I don't. So
I was putting demands on myself, like what a wife was supposed to be.
Yeah.
All this.
I mean, even
performance oriented as well. That was it for me too. And it was only after you started your own individual journey. I'm going through my own individual journey and just realizing.
Yeah, and I think
we started having conversations, and we realized, like, yo, we're not 100% with each other. Like being real.
Yeah.
Like there's some things, you know how you probably don't want to hurt my feelings, so you may not say. And you know, so we just realized, listen, we're not 100% ourselves, like 100% transparent.
Absolutely. And again, I think from that part, or me not having any expectation, that just goes back to I didn't give myself a chance to even be like, oh, like I want to be a husband. That just wasn't a thing. So I don't know what I expect, you know, of a wife. Like for me, I just love your company. Even when it came down to cooking, like there are times when you're like, I need to do that. And I'm like, let's order something. Like, who cares? I'd rather be eating takeout in front of the TV with you than me having to stay in my room by myself enjoying the show. You know, so if you feel like cooking, well, cool. If you don't, that's cool too. You know what I'm saying? Like we work.
And that's right. And that for me started from little. It's like you have to be doing something. Like you have to be productive. You remember that was a thing that I had to work through.
Yeah. But
as well.
I think spending time is productive. You know,
it is when you think about
because the thing is
feeling that emotional part. But
just period. You know, you just
for the relationship.
You bond with that person more. But anyways, bring this back home because you digressed.
I think we're done.
You think we're done?
Yeah, I think we're done.
This was a little eye-opening for me. I definitely was taking some notes.
Yeah.
I was definitely taking some notes. And I appreciate your vulnerability. I appreciate your vulnerability. What is happening? I appreciate your vulnerability. Okay. I appreciate your vulnerability. So,
keep going back.
Because I've used the word before. I don't know what's happening right now.
Just let it flow, babe.
I'm trying.
Ease and flow. That's my new motto.
Last time I kind of butchered it. Do you want me to try again? Let me try again.
Everybody deserves another